The stars had always been far away, but now they were close enough to touch. Nova Haven was a human colony station floating in the cold dark between stars. It wasn't big or fancy, but it was real. Built by people who had left Earth behind, looking for something new. Life there was quiet most days. Ships came and went. Workers fixed what needed fixing. Kids grew up learning about alien worlds and strange skies. Then came the message. It was not from Earth. It was not from any human world. It was from the Vreltan, a war station belonging to the Interstellar Defense Pact, a group of alien nations that had fought together for centuries. They wanted humans to join them. Join us, the message said. Help us fight what is coming. Everyone on Nova Haven talked about it. Some said yes, some said no. Many just stared at the sky and wondered how this could be happening. Among those chosen to go was a man named Aaron. He used to be a soldier, but now he was more of a talker than a fighter. Tall, with tired eyes and steady hands, he had been picked to help build trust between humans and aliens. He stood on the deck of a small shuttle watching as Nova Haven grew smaller behind him. Next to him sat Emily, a linguist with sharp eyes and sharper questions. She had spent years trying to understand alien speech patterns. Now, for the first time, she would speak face-to-face with beings she had only read about. Also with them was Marcus, a quiet engineer who had worked on ships his whole life. He didn't care much for politics or war. He just wanted to see how alien machines worked. They were 3 humans among many sent to the Vreltan, a massive alien war station made of metal that shimmered like oil on water. When they arrived, everything felt too big, too loud, too fast. The halls were filled with creatures that looked nothing like humans. Some walked on 4 legs. Some had voices that hummed instead of spoke. Still, there was hope. Humans had made it. They were part of something bigger now. The commander of the Vreltan was a being called Karen. Tall, scaled, with deep-set eyes that seemed to look through you. He welcomed them, but not warmly. You are here to learn, he said, not to lead. They did not mind. Not yet. Then came the call. An enemy force had appeared near the outer systems. The Pact had to act fast. Humans were given roles: support, communication, targeting. And then, for the first time, Aaron saw war in space. Ships moved like lightning. Weapons fired without sound. And then, without warning, entire groups of ships were gone. Just gone. As if they had never been there. Emily watched in silence. Marcus turned away. Aaron tried to give orders, but no one listened. Something was wrong. But he didn't know how wrong yet. The battle was over almost as soon as it began. Aaron still felt the hum of energy in his bones, like a deep sound you can't hear but still feel in your chest. He looked at the view screen again, trying to make sense of what he had just seen. Ships, dozens of them, were gone. Not broken, not drifting, just gone. No debris, no wreckage, no signal. They had vanished. Karen stood near the command deck, speaking in his low, rough voice to others of his kind. None of them seemed surprised. Aaron turned to Emily, who was staring at the screen with wide eyes. Did you see that? He asked. She nodded slowly. I've read about weapons like this, but nothing like that. Marcus walked up behind them, his face pale. They didn't even see it coming, he said. 1 second they were there. Next, nothing. Aaron tried to find something to say, something that made sense. But he couldn't. Humans had been told they would help. They had been given roles: targeting, communication, support. But during the battle, their inputs had been ignored or overridden by alien systems. He had tried to send a warning to a nearby ship. The system rejected his command. So did Emily's. So did Marcus's. It was like they weren't even part of the fight. After the battle, Karen called the human officers together. You did not interfere, he said. That was good. Aaron frowned. We tried to help. Help? Karen tilted his head. You were never meant to fight. Those words hung in the air. Later that night, Aaron sat alone in the human quarters, replaying the battle in his mind. He watched the logs, again and again. The enemy had struck fast, silent, deadly, but something else bothered him. Before each strike, the alien ships had known where to go, how to move, until the humans had sent in their data. Then everything changed, not all at once, not in a way anyone would notice unless they were looking for it. But patterns shifted, timing went off, plans broke down, small things, tiny errors, until the whole thing fell apart. He wasn't sure what it meant, but he knew something was wrong. Emily came in, holding a small pad. Her face was tight with worry. "I found something," she said. Aaron looked at her. "This isn't the first time humans have been here," she said. "We weren't the first ones invited to join the pact." He waited, and every time, she said, something bad happened. What kind of bad? Entire fleets lost. Battles lost. Sometimes whole colonies destroyed. Aaron felt cold, and every time, she whispered, humans were there. Aaron could not sleep. Emily's words kept echoing in his head. Every time humans were there, something went wrong. He sat in the dim light of the human quarters aboard the Vreltan, staring at the old logs she had found. They were hard to read, written in alien code, translated poorly, but the message was clear. Humans had tried before, not just once, not just now. They had joined other wars. They had been welcomed, trusted, and each time, failure followed. Not because of bad training or poor weapons, but something else, something deeper. Emily paced back and forth, her fingers tapping against her arm. "This isn't just a coincidence," she said. "It's patterns, numbers, too many losses tied to us being part of the chain." Marcus leaned over the console, eyes tired. "You're saying we bring bad luck?" "No," she said. "I'm saying it's not luck. It's something real, something we don't understand." Aaron rubbed his face. He wanted to argue, wanted to say it was fear-talking, but he couldn't ignore what he saw during the battle. How systems ignored them, how timing slipped, how ships vanished the moment human inputs changed the plan. He looked at Emily. "Can you find more? Older records?" She nodded. "I think so, but I'll need help getting into deeper files." Marcus sighed. "If we get caught digging through alien secrets, we might be sent home, or worse. We have to know," Aaron said. Later that night, with Marcus pretending to run a system check, they accessed a restricted archive. The data was old, buried deep in forgotten logs. Some of it had been sealed. What they found chilled them. Records from 500 years ago. Reports of a human-led defense fleet that collapsed without reason. Allies scattered. Entire sectors lost. One report stood out. Written by an alien commander who barely escaped. Human presence appears to disrupt command logic. Probability models fail in their presence. Outcomes become unpredictable. Recommend no human involvement in tactical warfare. Another file showed a war council from centuries past. The decision had been made long ago. Humans must not be allowed near combat strategy or frontline functions. The risk is too great. Emily closed the pad and looked at Aaron. "They knew," she whispered. "They've known for a long time." Aaron felt sick. Not because they were weak, not because they were unwanted, but because when humans fought, things broke. Not machines, chances, plans, the very idea of winning. Something about them did not fit in the way the stars fought. And now they had been invited again, not because they were strong, but because someone had forgotten why they did not belong. The deeper they dug, the more the truth twisted in their minds like a broken wire. Emily had pulled up more files. Some were old, very old, older than human space travel. She pieced together bits of alien records, war logs, and sealed reports. Marcus helped her break into systems that didn't want to be found. They found stories of battles that should have been won, fleets that had all the advantages, strategies that made sense. But then came the humans. Not always in charge. Not always on the front lines. Sometimes just part of the plan, sometimes just giving an order, sometimes even just watching, and everything fell apart. "It's not just luck," Emily whispered, her voice tight. "This happens too much. Every time we're involved, something breaks." Aaron stared at the screen. He wasn't sure what scared him more, the idea that humans brought bad luck, or that something in them made the universe itself change its rules. He looked at Marcus, who was quiet for once. "You believe this?" Marcus shook his head, but slowly. "I don't know what I believe, but I know what I saw out there. Our orders got lost, systems ignored us, plans failed the moment we touched them." Emily pointed at one report. It was from a battle where humans had only served as messengers. No weapons, no control, just passing data between ships. The result? A fleet scattered, half destroyed. The enemy didn't win because they were stronger. They won because the humans changed when things happened. Timing, chance, luck, something. She turned to Aaron. "What if it's not about skill or training? What if it's us? What if we just don't fit?" "Fit into what?" he asked. "Combat," she said. "The way the stars fight. The way things work out there. Maybe we mess it up without trying." Aaron rubbed his eyes. He wanted to laugh, to say it was nonsense. But deep down he already knew. He had felt it in the air when he gave that command during the battle. How the system had paused. How the response never came. How, seconds later, a ship was gone. He had seen it happen before. Back on Earth. In small wars, in peacekeeping missions. How nothing ever went quite right when humans were in charge. There was always something. A storm, a mistake, a missed call, always a reason. But what if the reason was them? He looked out the window of the Vreltanby, at the cold dark between stars. Humans had come so far. They had left Earth behind. They had reached for the sky. And now, for the first time, they were learning a terrible truth. They did not belong in war, not because they were weak, but because when they fought, the universe forgot how to make sense. The test came without warning. Karen called the human officers to the war room. Emily, Aaron, and Marcus were there, along with others. They were told it was a training exercise. No real weapons, no real danger. Just simulations. They were given command roles inside a battle scenario that had already been run 100 times by alien minds. The outcome was known. Victory every bow. Time. But this time, humans were in control, not full control. Just small parts. Targeting. Timing. Movement. Enough to change things. Aaron sat at his station, heart beating slow and heavy. The screen showed ships moving in perfect order. He gave a simple command. Adjust position by 5 degrees. The system hesitated, then obeyed. Emily watched as data shifted. She saw the lines of probability break apart like glass cracking under pressure. Marcus frowned. Something's off. On the screen, the simulation began to fall apart. Ships moved too late. Weapons fired too early. Enemy forces changed course in ways they never had before. And then, all at once, the whole thing collapsed. The fleet was gone. Not in the way of real death, but in the way that made your stomach drop. This wasn't supposed to happen. The aliens ran the same scenario again. And again. Each time they removed human input. Every time, the battle went back to normal. Each time, the win was certain. But let a human touch the plan? Everything broke. After the last run, Karen stood silent for a long moment. Then he turned to them. "You do not see what we see," he said. "Your minds are different. You do not follow the same rules." Aaron swallowed hard. "What do you mean?" "We calculate risk. We follow logic. We know what will happen before it does. But when you are near, the numbers fail. The future becomes unknown." Emily whispered, "Chaos." Karen looked at her. "Yes, you bring chaos into order." Aaron felt cold. Not because they were being blamed, because it was true. He thought of all the battles humans had fought. How nothing ever went quite right. How even the best plans failed. How luck always seemed to turn against them. Maybe it wasn't luck. Maybe it was something built into them, something the universe could not control. And if the universe could not control it, then maybe it did not want them near war at all. Karen looked at them one last time. "You are not welcome in our wars," he said, "not because you are weak, but because when you fight, the stars forget how to listen." The decision came fast. Humans were to leave the Pax war zones, not as prisoners, not as enemies, but as something worse, as danger. Aaron sat with Emily and Marcus in the human quarters aboard the Vareltan. The walls felt smaller than before. The air felt heavier. Outside, alien ships moved like shadows in the dark. None of them looked at the humans now. They had seen the test. They had seen what happened when humans touched war. "So that's it?" Marcus asked. "We just go home?" Emily shook her head. "Not home. Nova Haven. But yeah, we're being sent back." "Because we're bad luck," Marcus said. "No," Aaron said quietly. "Because we change things." He thought about all the wars humans had fought, how they always seemed to lose more than they should, how even when they won it didn't feel right. Now he knew why. It wasn't poor training. It wasn't bad leaders. It was them. Something in the way humans thought, in the way they made choices. It did not fit with the way the stars worked. In battle, everything had rules: timing, distance, force, logic. But when humans were near, those rules broke. Karen had told them plainly, "You do not belong here." The other alien species agreed. Some feared them. Others pitied them. None wanted them near war again. A final meeting was held. The humans were given a choice: return to their own space or be removed by force. No one argued. On the day of departure, Aaron stood on the shuttle deck and watched as the last of the human crew boarded the ship. He looked up at the Vreltan. One last time. Once, he had believed this was the future, that humans could stand beside the stars and fight for peace. Now he knew better. They would never be part of galactic wars. Not because they were weak, but because when humans fought, the universe forgot how to make sense. As the shuttle lifted off, Emily sat beside him looking out the window. "Do you think anyone will believe us?" she asked. Aaron didn't answer right away. Some truths were too big to share. Some truths changed the way you saw everything, and some truths made you wonder if humanity was meant to stay away from war, or if war itself was afraid of what humans might bring. The shuttle left the Vreltan behind, and the stars grew quiet once more. Years passed. Nova Haven grew bigger. More humans came. More ships were built, but never for war. The pack stayed far away. No messages, no visits, no invitations. Humans were not enemies, but they were not welcome either. Aaron lived quietly on Nova Haven. He didn't talk much about what happened on the Vreltan. When he did, he used a fake name and wrote in small journals no one else read. He had once believed that humans could fight beside the stars. Now he knew the truth. They could not. Not because they were weak, but because when humans fought, something broke. Not just plans, not just machines. Something deeper. Emily kept studying. She became one of the few who tried to understand what had happened. She called it the anomaly, not magic, not luck, something real, something woven into the way human minds worked. "We don't follow the same rules," she would say. "We see choices where others see paths. We make decisions that can't be predicted, and in war, prediction was everything." Marcus went back to fixing ships. He didn't want to think about what they had learned. But sometimes, late at night, he would look up at the sky and wonder if humans were broken, or if they were something the universe could not control. Others tried to forget. Some called it a myth. Some called it fear. But deep down, many knew. They had been shown the door, and they had walked through it. On Earth, no one knew the full truth. Nova Haven told stories of peacekeeping missions gone wrong, of strange losses in quiet corners of space. No one said why, because how do you tell a whole world that they are not allowed near war? Not because they are not strong enough, but because they should not be. In time, new generations grew up without knowing the past. They looked at the stars with hope. They dreamed of adventure. They did not know what had been learned or what had been lost. But Aaron knew. He sat by the window of his small home, watching the lights in the sky. Ships moved between worlds, not for war, not for conquest, but for something else, for something new. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough.